A while ago, I posted 2 videos showcasing 10 facts about Undertale that the vast majority of people did not know. You might think I've run out of things to talk about at this point, but after a ton of requests, today we'll be looking at 10 more Undertale facts and secrets that you did not already know. A lot of these are things that I myself wasn't even sure on before doing the research for this video, so I hope you walk away learning something new today. Before we begin, I just wanted to mention that we're getting extremely close to 300,000 subscribers to the channel. I'd love to get there before the end of the year, and every little bit helps, so thank you to everyone who subscribes and watches my videos. Let's get started with some facts. If you've been around the Undertale fandom since the very beginning like me, you might remember the initial confusion on what KR stood for in the Sans fight. I remember the fan term karmic retribution being thrown around a lot back in the day. Well, as it turns out, it just stands for karma in all caps. The game itself directly confirms this through flavor text in the fight, but the way that the flavor text works is extremely weird. During the Sans fight, you can get 4 different versions of flavor text depending on how much karma you currently have accumulated. From 0 to 10, you get, "You felt your sins crawling on your back," which is the one that everyone knows about. From 10 to 20, you instead get, "You felt your sins weighing on your neck," which less people know about. However, at 20 to 30 karma, you'll get the text, "Karma coursing through your veins," which is the text that directly confirms what KR stands for. Now you might be wondering, why have I never seen these? I've taken so much damage to Sans. Well, the reason why this text is obscure is because your KR for the flavor text is checked when Sans begins his turn and then is displayed afterwards, not at the end of his turns like you might expect. This happens after the fight animation and after Sans' dialogue for the turn, which provides ample time for the karma to drain before the check is run, especially if you are actually taking time to read what he says. Additionally, the more karma you have, the faster it drains away. Because of this, very few players would ever naturally see the karma coursing through your veins text in normal gameplay, as the easiest way to see it is to immediately spare and waste a turn right after taking a ton of damage. Now, it's been 9 years since Undertale came out, so this information is more widely known among the community. What you probably didn't know is that there's a 4th flavor text, "Doomed to Death of Karma," with an exclamation point there just for good measure. This text has been argued over for a while because many people have claimed it is unused text. In fact, the localization team for Undertale may have thought this too, as it was temporarily removed from the game in version 1.05 before being added back in a later patch. Viewing this text is nearly impossible, and I almost actually gave up while trying to figure it out, but after trying my hardest, I found one attack that can reproduce it consistently. In Phase 2, you need one of Sans' shadow attacks, or the attacks where he uses many mini-attacks at once, to end in this particular Gaster Blaster formation, and then you need to tank it all. After that, you must immediately spare him to progress to the check as fast as possible. This is nearly frame perfect. With that, I was finally able to get the elusive flavor text and prove that it wasn't unused after all. Seriously, this took me over 20 minutes to do. I can see why people thought it was unused. Okay, that was quite a complicated one. Let's do a quick and easy one instead. In the room in Hotland where you can pick up the stained apron, if you walk to the right, you can see this extra platform off in the distance. It seemingly doesn't do anything. However, when you enter the room, there is a 1 in 20 chance that you can find a mysterious figure standing over on the right platform. This is the same sprite as one of the mercenaries from Core later, and I have no idea why this was made as obscure as it was. Using debug mode, you can move out of bounds to find that this NPC can't be interacted with at all and doesn't even have a hitbox. Spooky. You may have heard that at the end of the genocide route, Undertale was supposed to delete itself. And not the 10 minutes of wind like in the final game, I mean it would attempt to delete Undertale.exe from your computer. It's been reported across the fanbase by multiple people that this code simply just doesn't work. But this is actually incorrect. It does work. It just targets the wrong file directory. Rather than target the file path in which Undertale.exe is actually installed in, it instead targets the save file directory. You can see this in action yourself by placing a copy of Undertale.exe inside your save file directory during the genocide ending. As you see here, it gets deleted along with the other files, but other things that you may have put in here won't be deleted. So as for why this wasn't fixed, I'm not sure, and we'll probably never get an answer. But it's possible that Toby left it like this not because he couldn't figure it out, but because the plan he ultimately went with worked better. I personally agree with this as well. As neat of a trick as it is, a game that you paid money for deleting itself would cause a lot of problems. Users without internet access being locked out of the game that they bought would be a huge issue, and to be honest, I think the 10-minute wait hammers home the point better than just a trivial reinstallation would anyway. In Waterfall, there's a bunch of echo flowers you can talk to. However, a few of them are outside of the playable space, so what do they say? Firstly, this whole big room in general has seemingly unfinished content, with an entire portion of the area inaccessible despite having hitboxes and even a functioning screen transition in the top left. Here's what that flower says. During the walk through the rain, the flower off to the side simply says error, but this is just a joke from Toby while coding it, as it's not actually an error handler. However, the most interesting flower is one that doesn't exist in the final game. By placing the Echo Flower object into the ballet shoes room, you can access unused dialogue, seemingly from the human that had the ballet shoes, implying that this is where they met their end. This text was probably removed to make the fate of the other human beings more ambiguous, but hey, Undertale Yellow took this little bit and ran with it, so that's nice. This next one can only be observed in the original 1.0 release version of Undertale and seems to be an accidental leftover debug function. In the final group cutscene before the Asriel fight, if you press the spacebar, Undyne and Alphys will attempt to kiss early, and their faces will completely break for the rest of the cutscene. I think this one speaks for itself. Did you know the piano puzzle has 2 solutions? What I originally thought to be a typo was actually a clever way of noting that there are 2 solutions. This sign here says, quote, only the first 8 are fine, but that seems weird, right? The solution is 7 notes long, and the clue that was patched into the game later is also 7 notes long. But as it turns out, Toby foresaw some players having issues differentiating the note in the accompaniment in the music from the melody. On the piano, I'd call it the left-hand part. If you play that note as part of the solution, the door will still open. Pretty neat little secret. Oh, also Maxine, add this shit to Ribbit. The quiz show is still a trick question. Okay, bye. Anyway, while we're in Waterfall, let's talk about a super hidden oversight that I bet you didn't think was possible to see without hacking. In the artifact room, entering the room will place a dog into your inventory. Exiting the room will remove this dog. If you call Toriel, the phone will ring from within the dog too. However, by using the punch card glitch, it's actually possible to have your inventory up on the screen while moving through rooms, which allows you to watch the dog get deleted in real time. This has the exclusive use of allowing you to hover over an item that doesn't exist, by hovering over the dog as it is removed from your inventory. Using or dropping this null item doesn't do anything interesting, but by selecting info, you can read the text. If you're reading this, I messed up somehow. Well, I guess he messed up somehow. See this sign? No shit. However, the sign can actually vanish in the genocide route, but not at all where or when you'd expect it to. This sign will disappear after beating Undyne the Undying and achieving murder level 12. Murder level is just an internal variable that tracks genocide route progress. It's not something you can actually interact with. For some reason, this sign loses its visibility, but again, you'd only be able to see this by backtracking a considerable amount. Also, the sign does not properly lose its collision, and you'll bump into an invisible object. You can see the hitboxes are still here with debug mode. I have no idea how or why this happened, and it wasn't ever fixed or removed or anything, unlike a few other murder level related bugs. Do y'all remember when the text saying that comedian was broken and would appear incorrectly when Snowdrake was already dead, making old fans think this was about Sans instead? Good times. Good times. It took a while, but the Xbox version of Undertale was finally data mined recently. Toby Fox actually left a secret message inside the game applauding the efforts of breaking the infamously difficult Xbox encryption. Additionally, the Xbox version has a few secrets when you unplug your controller in specific rooms, but the most notable one is the TrueLab one, which would list a series of different body parts that were no longer connected. Now we have the full script since it was cut off on the screen before. Pretty cool stuff. For the last regular fact of the day, did you know about the Hush Puppy item? This can be obtained by sliding a hot dog purchased from Sans beneath the rightmost door in the hotel. This item heals a whopping 65 HP and also states that it nullifies dog magic. Well, what does that mean? Well, you probably didn't know that you can instantly end the fight within Dogony in the TrueLab by using it. Just simply eat the hush puppy and the fight will end immediately and you're able to spare them. Pretty neat. While making this video, I asked you guys for any extra facts you wanted to see in this video. A handful of you guys actually correctly guessed a couple of things I already planned to cover. A reoccurring one I saw pop up was something you can do after killing Toriel in a neutral route. If you go back and sleep in the bed after doing so, Asgore's text that usually plays in the game over screen will play, and you'll be greeted with a slowed down, distorted version of Fallen Down. This music track was actually in the demo soundtrack list and was called Empty House. After leaving the room, it inconsistently fades out, but if you listen extremely closely, you'll hear that it's actually playing super quietly in the background, waiting for the game to increase the volume. Pretty neat trick there, Toby. And for today's final fact, it's another extra fact that I just had to include after seeing it. In the game's debug mode, the J key normally does nothing, but it does have one use. It was made for testing the zoom in on Sans during his first cutscene. Pressing J during the cutscene will cause this game crash to happen. Oh, but it gets way better. If you press J while the game is already zoomed in on Sans, it causes you to zoom in again and, well... Wait, come back, wait.